this. In 1950s, he was writing the software program for the Lawrence Livermore Laboratory. He was writing the program to track the particles as they exploded from the atomic energy.
Yeah.
So this is in the 50s. He's writing a program. When Hewlett-Packard wanted to create the first computer, they asked him. And Packard didn't know much about software, so he wrote the software too.
As you know, during slavery, education was illegal. Just to think of it. Education was illegal. And the slave masters knew why it was important to keep us ignorant. And to me, it's shameful that in this 21st century, that those of us who don't know the value of knowledge, the value of education. If I know more than you, I will control more than you. My mother really made me who I am. When I was like 12 years old, I think, I was stopped by a policeman because I was outside of my area. He asked me what I was doing there, and I told him I was just there because I had work to do. He asked me to get in the back of the police car, and he took me to the border and said, "Don't ever let me catch you here again." Right? And I was so angry that I wasn't sure what I should do. I talked to my mother. I told her what happened. She said, "Well, remember this. You're going to meet racism for the rest of your life, but don't ever let that be a reason why you don't succeed." I look at technology and education generally as good for our well-being, not just to make money, but education for the sake of education. And my parents told me that no matter how much money you have, you can lose it. But you can't lose knowledge. You have it once and forever. When I left St. Louis University, I applied for a job at McDonnell Aircraft in St. Louis because I wanted to work in the private sector. I showed up, they had seen my resume and they had been from St. Louis University. And blacks did not go to St. Louis University before then. So when I arrived in the reception office at McDonnell Douglas in 1951, the lady came out and very politely said, "Mr. Clary, we're very sorry. We have no jobs for professional Negroes." I was involved in the building of Intel. I was introduced to a fellow named Bob Noyce, N-O-Y-C-E, by Tom Perkins, the founder of Kleiner Perkins, Coffin and Buyer, who is a superstar of venture capital. Tom wanted me to look at something that Bob Noyce had done called the 8080 microprocessor. And Noyce did not know exactly what to do with it. So I worked with him to evaluate its usefulness. And after 6 months or so, and looking at all the things you could do, and we were looking at building computers, automating traffic lights and elevators. And I said, well, why don't you just sell the chip? Sell the chip. And that's what Intel does. I was invited most recently to the black employees of Intel. And it was fantastic. And they had not known how I was involved in Silicon Valley. You can imagine how that kind of information can be kept from us.